everyone. I'm Symphony Privet. Thank you for joining us here on Featured. We hope to inspire or simply make you smile with uplifting stories across the country. A nonprofit organization based in San Diego is working to rescue dogs in Mexico. Jeff Zevely introduces us to the Cantu Foundation.
This is Bethany, and this is Mrs. Poppy, and if they could talk, their story would be filled with gratitude.
Happy customers all around.
On the streets of Tijuana, Rosarito, and Ensenada,
Yummy.
volunteers with the Cantu Foundation are rescuing street dogs.
I mean, we see dogs that are absolutely starving.
Brittany Hodick is a volunteer who adopted 2 rescued dogs. Speedy is partially paralyzed and needs a wheelchair to get around. This is Brittany with Speedy, while also carrying her other rescued dog. Sonic suffered 3 broken legs after being hit by a car.
It fills me with so much joy and love and tears, to be honest, when I think about it.
The Cantu Foundation rescues dogs off the streets of Baja California and places them in their sanctuary in Rosarito.
And we currently have a capacity to hold about 20 to 25 dogs.
As soon as the dogs are healthy enough to travel and have a foster family ready for them in San Diego,
we have freedom rides for Mineko and Stella.
they cross the border in what the organization calls a freedom ride.
To their new foster home where they get to live in a house for the first time, and we just see it as the beginning of the rest of their lives.
The Cantu Foundation started in 2020, and since then, they've rescued more than 1,000 dogs.
Here we have Miss Poppy Girl and Miss Bethany.
The nonprofit organizes adoption events in San Diego almost every weekend.
We see the doodles, we see chihuahuas, we see pugs, we see hounds, we see shepherds. I mean, there is just such a diverse range of dogs available.
Also, dogs that are young and old.
So currently she's hopping around on 2 legs.
Vets had to amputate Bethany's front left leg. Her back leg is also badly injured.
The Cantu Foundation is paying for multiple surgeries for Bethany. She's dealing with 2 bad paws, but when you see her run with joy, it's obvious she never got the memo.
And if you saw her moving through the grass, you'd never know that she is working with 2 legs. It's pretty incredible. They're the most grateful, loving, and compassionate dogs.
The Cantu Foundation needs more foster families, more donors, and more forever homes for dogs in need.
You've put in hundreds of hours. You haven't been paid for any of it.
Absolutely not. I think that really speaks to the heart of the organization and everyone involved. You know, we really do it for the dogs.
The before and after pictures are incredible, followed by birthday cakes of love.
It's really inspiring.
In the Zevely Zone,
I highly recommend adopting a Cantu dog.
Jeff Zevely.
Oh, that is so adorable. All right, people driving in Tennessee might notice the many different license plates on cars. Last fiscal year, specialty license plate sales provided nearly $10 million to different groups across the state. Now, for $35 a year, people can choose from more than 100 special designs to support causes all across the state. It's a trend the Tennessee Department of Revenue says is increasing, with sales growing over the years. Sam Perez in Knoxville talked with some organizations about the impact.
Every child that comes through our door is lavishly loved.
Games, stuffed animals, and brand new clothes fill the Isaiah 117 house.
We are a safe landing space for children as they are awaiting foster care placement.
Christy Whitehead started as a volunteer for the nonprofit in 2019. Now she works full-time, providing not just a safe space for kids, but also sending them off with new toys and clothes.
A lot of our kids have never experienced brand new items or the opportunity to say what they want to eat and then get that.
Whether it's a new jacket, new shoes, a Big Mac, or a home-cooked meal, the Isaiah 117 house provides that.
It takes a whole community surrounding us to make it happen.
One way the nonprofit sees that community support is through specialty license plate sales. The state of Tennessee sells more than 100 types of specialty plates, benefiting all different groups and organizations, like East Tennessee Children's Hospital.
Every dollar goes back to support the children in the greatest need of whatever that might be for the year.
Natalie Havasey with the hospital says in the last 5 years, the license plates have raised more than $71,000 in $35 increments.
I think it's one of those easy ways that you can support us.
Easy and impactful.
Last year we were able to buy a laparoscope for our surgery center, so that was really nice to be able to buy something that's very useful.
Useful for raising money and awareness.
License plates help us to love on the most vulnerable in our community, right in our backyards.
Each sale allowing for more lavish love. In Knoxville, I'm Sam Perez.
Now, instead of spending their snow days sleeping, one high school football team in Cleveland, Ohio, chose to help clean up from a recent winter storm. And as Mike Polk Jr. found out, it is all about giving back to the community that supports them on the field every Friday night.
The Worcester Generals are ditching the pads and donning the parkas as a gesture of goodwill and as a way of saying thank you to the town. What am I looking at right here, Ray?
Yeah, you're looking at our kids, voluntarily coming out on a snow day, putting in work for the community. They could do anything else, right? But they choose to come out and give our community something, without asking for anything. So it's just a good message. We know we had a huge snowstorm, and a lot of the elderly or people who need help, we want to make sure they can come get out for appointments and all that kind of stuff.
About how many drives and sidewalks have we done so far?
I don't know. We lost count. We had over hundreds of inquiries as far as people needing help. This wasn't on our list, but somebody saw us. So we're just going to help whoever we can out today.
Residents are encouraged to respond via the social post or contact the coaching staff if you or a loved one needs some extra help during the latest Worcester winter weather fiasco. And the response has been strong. That looks like a pretty clean sidewalk situation we got going on here, and these stairs look good. Who did this?
The football team came and did everything for me today. So,
really? They did all this?
Yeah, they did everything. And I'm really grateful because my back is sore today.
Will you be supporting the football team this year because they did this to the sidewalk?
I always support the football team.
How is the morale holding up amongst the men?
Good. They're bundled up. We got pizza coming for them. We'll take care of our guys, but they're doing a great job. Super proud of them.
This is good exercise for them, right? Is this going to help the team next year?
Yeah, it's good cardio. It's good, lifting. A couple coaches in here, we've done some work. It's not easy, especially when you get a foot of snow.
And don't fret the labor costs. The General's services are free of charge. In lieu of cold, hard cash, the team encourages residents to attend a home football game next year to support the squad.
Everyone's come out and been so thankful. Some people have offered to pay, and we're just saying we're doing it for free, and they're super thankful, and that's really amazing.
That is cool that you guys are doing that for free. I mean, turning down, tips and whatnot. So what is the point of this if you guys aren't being paid? I don't understand.
It's to give back to the community. They always come out, support us Friday night, and so we're paying back.
I even became so inspired by the young men that I decided to pitch in myself for an extremely brief period of time. You guys mind if I steal some valor and dig it myself a little bit? I love it. Thanks, guys. On days like today, we can all use a little extra help. This is Mike bearing witness to a heartwarming scene on a cold day in Worcester.
That's pretty awesome. Okay, check this one out. In Connecticut, there is a new soda celebrating the New England Patriots and one of the team's wide receivers. It's called Pop Douglas. See what they did there. And at $21 for a 12-pack, it's a new way for fans to show their Pats pride. Here's Jim Altman.
A swivel, a pivot, and a shift down the line. And inside Avery's Beverages, it's game time. With a twist, the century-old soda maker has just introduced this to their mix.
This soda is called Pop Douglas Strawberry Cream Soda.
It has been years since Patriots fans have tasted such success.
He came up with it, yeah.
You see, star wide receiver Demario Pop Douglas wanted his own flavor.
Pop's representative reached out to us. He's from Connecticut and said Pop wants to make a soda of his own. They wanted to work with somebody local and family owned, so that was Avery's.
Avery's new owner, Pat Moore, was all in from the outset. At his mom and pop New Britain shop, Pat, a Pats fan, put the Pop into production, and that led to this.
Yeah, he's coming off the team bus going into Foxborough Stadium for the game, and so we credit that with him getting the first touchdown of the game last Sunday.
And apparently all that sugar and carbonation can uplift.
Talked over with Pop and his people, and we're going to donate the proceeds to 2 schools in Connecticut, Covenant Preparatory School in Hartford and Covenant School of Bridgeport, Connecticut. So drink Pop Douglas strawberry cream soda, and proceeds go to some great kids.
Thus far,
it's great. I mean, Drake May follows us on Instagram now.
Pop's pop shows no signs of fizzling out.
The Patriots put it on their webpage, and then the NFL picked it up, and then Sports Illustrated is doing an article on it. So it's been a lot of fun. Go Pats, go Pats, go Pop.
And that was Jim Altman reporting from Connecticut. Coming up, imagine preventing cancer before it starts. One doctor's innovative trial is doing just that. We'll look at the groundbreaking research reshaping leukemia treatment. Plus, a fight for his life and a second chance to live it. How a COVID-19 survivor's journey led to a lung transplant and the milestones he is now celebrating. Welcome back. We have a powerful story of hope and medical innovation. A groundbreaking clinical trial based in St. Louis showing promise in stopping leukemia before it starts. Patients say the results offered them something they never thought was possible. Here's Mercedes McKay.
It's given me back my life.
Joe Rage's journey began over a decade ago when test results showed his blood levels beginning to decline. He was then diagnosed with a condition that carried a 95% chance of turning into the disease that took his brother's life.
My older brother passed away when he was 40 years old from leukemia.
Rage thought that was his same fate until his doctors told him about a clinical trial created thousands of miles away from his California home.
It really is devastating to someone's life when they get leukemia, and our only curative approach is bone marrow transplant, which is really hard to go through.
That's why Dr. Kelly Bolton at Washington University School of Medicine had the idea to not wait for the cancer to develop. Instead, try targeting genetic mutations years earlier.
If we could move these targeted therapies earlier in cancer development, like before people actually get cancer, but where they still have these pre-cancerous genetic changes, probably the targeted therapies would work better.
From there, Dr. Bolton's 2 preventative cancer trials were born. One trial focusing on patients just like Ragey who have a pre-leukemic blood condition and mutation known as IDH1, which is a mutation that can be detected long before leukemia even appears.
We've had really great response rates, like about 90% of people respond. We actually see clearance of the mutation in the blood over time in the patients that are on the study.
And that's exactly the results Ragey has seen. And all he has to do is take 2 pills a day.
I've been in the study for 2.5 years now, and every 3 months my blood is normal, 100% normal. Which is like, they're going, what? This is like unheard of.
Both of Dr. Bolton's trials are being funded by Gateway for Cancer Research. The nonprofit's vision is to shape a world in which a cancer diagnosis is no longer feared.
We funded over $125 million in over 250 clinical trials at cancer centers around the world. And Gateway is unique because 100% of donations directly fund innovative research.
Hunter Patton-Gentert with Gateway for Cancer Research says there are several reasons Dr. Bolton's trial is innovative. One is that it's completely decentralized, meaning patients all across the country can participate without traveling.
This allows the patients to never have to leave their community and never step foot in St. Louis to participate in this trial.
For Dr. Bolton, the hope is that these results will lead to national guidelines, recognizing leukemia prevention as a standard treatment.
So I hope this will be an example of how this could actually work.
And as for Ragey, this trial gave him a priceless memory he didn't know he'd live to experience. Walking his daughter down the aisle.
I was worried I wasn't going to be able to go to that wedding because I'd be too sick. I'm not in the hospital. I'm not dying of leukemia.
And that was Mercedes McKay reporting. Now, Dr. Bolton says she's hopeful this trial will pave the way for more cancer prevention studies. A COVID-19 lung transplant survivor shares his powerful story today after overcoming a difficult journey. He's now celebrating life's priceless milestones after receiving the gift of life. Trisha Hendricks reports.
Myself, my sister, and my brother-in-law were all in the hospital at the same time. My brother-in-law, he didn't fare so well. Unfortunately, he passed away.
5 years ago, Arthur Sanchez's life was at stake.
It was a tough journey for my family because we were hit so hard.
During the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, the virus damaged his lungs.
I ended up getting transported to UNM Hospital.
There he underwent treatment on an ECMO machine, typically used as a last resort therapy that takes over for failing lungs.
I had flatlined a couple of times.
After 93 days, he was weaned off the machine, but unfortunately, his lungs were severely damaged. Doctors told him a lung transplant was his only option.
For me to be considered for that and given that option was just another, in my mind, another miracle that happened.
Arthur's medical team sought out Dignity Health St. Joseph's Norton Thoracic Institute team, and within 2 weeks of his arrival, the transplant team found a donor match for Arthur.
Art was one of the first few in the country to get transplanted for post-COVID fibrosis.
In April of 2020, he received the life-saving double lung transplant at Dignity Health St. Joseph's Hospital and Medical Center.
St. Joseph Hospital did an amazing job.
Arthur is now a living testament to the power of a second chance as he celebrates 5 years of miraculous milestones.
I'm truly blessed to be here. My family is growing. I have a grandbaby now and a grandbaby on the way, and I was able to marry off my youngest daughter. Just to experience those things within these past 5 years have been amazing.
To see him 5 years down the lane doing amazingly well and being able to enjoy what he thought he had lost is a great satisfaction.
His story, a reminder of the complexities we faced during the pandemic, but most importantly, how with the talented medical team's work combined with his determination and family support, Arthur was able to make a remarkable recovery.
I give thanks to the good Lord every day.
Trisha Hendricks.
All right, coming up after the break, 2026 is Sundance Film Festival's last year in Utah before it moves to Boulder, Colorado. Colorado film buffs say they are getting excited for the chance to highlight their state's film history. We are taking a look at Colorado's contributions to film. And still ahead, one woman took on the Honolulu Marathon in honor of her late aunt. How she's carried her aunt's legacy to the finish line. Welcome back. 2026 is the Sundance Film Festival's final year in Park City, Utah. And 2027, it moves to Boulder, Colorado. Now, people in Colorado's film industry say they hope the move will shine a spotlight on the state's rich movie history. Jaleesa Irizarry takes a closer look.
With scenery this cinematic, it's no surprise that parts of Colorado's film history is as rocky as its peaks.
The poor girl drowned, but the film remains.
Clark Farmer knows a thing or two about that.
Yes.
His kids' artwork pretty much says it all.
And I told her sometimes the students don't like the black and white films as much as the color films.
The CU Boulder film professor is a self-certified movie history nerd.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
With deep knowledge of Colorado cinema.
Yeah, I always like things that are kind of a little old and out of date, and just finding out, like, you know, when did things start? Like, the first films were actually shot here in 1897. It was called Eagle Dance Pueblo Indians. There was like a Native American group that had come up to this exposition and were doing these dance performances.
Movies made in this state go way back, and that's where much of their recognition remains. For a time, the landscape lent itself to westerns like The Naked Spur starring Jimmy Stewart and the 1969 version of True Grit with John Wayne.
Well, there is the scene in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid And it's a very funny scene where they stop the train and they need to blow up the safe. The entire train car blows up. It's Robert Redford or Paul Newman, but they have the deadpan line.
Think you're using enough dynamite there, Butch?
That's a very cute little bit from that film that was shot in Colorado.
Farmer knows most his students search for Colorado classics made in this century.
A few of them know about the film Sleeper from Woody Allen.
But he says that's where the state's film success has been slim.
Yeah, there was a 2006 movie, not that great of a movie, Jennifer Gardner movie called Catch and Release, and it's set in Boulder. And they specifically say, we are in Boulder. The Fast and Furious 7 did a scene where they shot on the road up to Pikes Peak. You have these cars being like dropped from the sky, which they actually did, which is kind of amazing. Hateful Eight, shot around Telluride. That's, I think, the last kind of high-profile film that has been shot in the state.
Farmer is optimistic it won't stay that way. He hopes Sundance's move to the Rocky Mountains will shift something else.
Actually having Sundance here, I think, will actually kind of give more prominence to some of the filmmakers in Colorado who are doing things like experimental film.
Films from this state could maybe find their place on one of the industry's biggest stages.
That was Jaleesa Irizarry reporting. An inspiring sign of love in a Virginia neighborhood, how a few scraps and some leftover lights are now building connection and hope. Plus, an educator in New Orleans works to spread her love of literacy every Mardi Gras carnival season. We'll show you how she replaces beads with books. Thank you for staying with us here on Featured. I'm Symphony Privet, and we are continuing to bring you uplifting stories across the country. A woman from Oregon took on the Honolulu Marathon. 42,000 people participated, so she wasn't alone. But we want to tell you her story because she was in Hawaii to finish the marathon for her aunt, Veronica. Here's Tim Gordon.
Folks, when you hit that starting line, do not stop. Take a video. Don't take a photo. Let's go!
The starting line of the Honolulu Marathon, early morning, December 14th. Marianne Blanchard was there.
I've never done a marathon. But people in the community kept telling me, like, are you going to do it for her? Like, we can see you doing it.
I spoke to Blanchard just before she flew to Hawaii to walk the marathon her Aunt Veronica Gaston never got to do the year before.
I couldn't even walk 10 steps 4.5 years ago.
Gaston appeared in several news stories on KGW over the years, including in November of 2024 when she was training to walk the Honolulu Marathon the next month.
I can walk up to 4.5 miles an hour.
At 55 years old and using a walker, she'd conquered many challenges in her life, from addiction to a broken back to her ongoing fight with blood cancer. After training intensively for the marathon, Veronica died the day before she was to go to Hawaii.
You blink and it was over.
Marianne was with her aunt when she passed on.
It doesn't feel real. Of all the people, like, she was the one that would come back fighting.
Veronica was gone, but still inspiring. Marianne began training early last year, and with her longtime friend Tess, made it to the marathon Veronica came so close to conquering. We met with her post-race in Grand Ronde at the Powwow Grounds, an important place for the tribal community. That included Veronica, who was a Grand Ronde tribal elder, always pushing to make a difference.
She is proof that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If you want change, don't stop.
There's a lot of hungry people out there.
Veronica was a big supporter of her community. Another story we did on the local food bank included Veronica helping out, and the community supported her leading up to her marathon dream.
I know everybody was encouraging her, and the tragedy that happened, their encouragement switched to encouraging me to do this for her. Like that final piece. It was insane how much the tribal community came around me.
Officially begun. Supported to take on the marathon, Marianne made it all the way.
It's pouring down rain this morning.
Through rain, then sun, then thankfully more rain.
With the sun and everything, it got hot, and I was like, Veronica, I really need Oregon. Like, I need home if I'm gonna do this. And it started pouring rain, and it poured the rest of the marathon.
More than 8 hours and 26.2 miles later, she completed the race for Veronica, and it turns out, for herself.
I got my closure crossing that finish line. I did what I had come to do. I finished grieving, and I kind of accepted it at that point. I don't know how to describe that. It's not a weight off your shoulders, but a sense of relief.
Now, Marianne's marathon medal is Veronica's, decorating the cross in Grand Ronde, where she was laid to rest.
That was Tim Gordon reporting from Oregon. Now, we told you how Marianne appreciated the support of her Grand Ronde tribal community. That extended past just cheering her on. Tribal leaders also supported her with money to help her afford the trip to Hawaii. It's a great ending to that story. High schoolers every year make some tough decisions about what to do after they finish high school. But for one student athlete in Iowa, his decision came down to something greater than playing a sport. Trey Redfield has the story.
Give me 2 claps for Ric Flair.
Really enjoyed being a part of his senior year and getting to watch it for front row.
He wants it, he's tough, he's gritty. I can go on and on.
He's a top 5 heavyweight wrestler in the state and a star offensive tackle. Andrew Hine has checked off all the boxes.
These coaches, I wouldn't be as good as I am without them. Plenty of adversity helped me improve, kind of get to the point I am.
The past 3.5 years, Hine has shown plenty of grit, both behind me on the mats and on the football field here at Waukee High School. But come a few months from now, duty, honor, and country will come first, as Hine is off to play football at the United States Military Academy.
The great people, the great men and women that went through the academy. And, I fell in love instantly.
He's always been interested in the military, and when he started excelling at sports, we didn't think that was going to be a possibility.
But once December came, the youngest of 4 off to West Point became a reality.
This year we were watching the Army-Navy game at home, and they did the preview, and they say we knew it when they were young.
You don't have to do this.
We knew early on.
Yeah. And I,
even when they were young.
My husband and I just looked at each other, and we just lost it because we did. We knew it when he was young.
I'm not only representing myself, but I'm representing my town and my state. That's something to definitely be proud of, and I'm excited for.
Something greater is on deck for Hine.
Here we go, 1, 2.
A commitment to the long gray line.
He wants to make his nation proud, and there's no better person that I can think of.
He's really accountable, he's respectful, he has a great family, he's got a good support system. He just does everything right.
They've helped him to be the person he is, and I just think that he's the best guy for the job.
With the future cadet, I'm Trey Redfield.
A 10-year effort that started with an old stack of wood and some leftover lights continues to make a positive impact in one Virginia neighborhood. It's a powerful display of how building community can often start small. Sean Martinelli has the story.
This Arlington, Virginia neighborhood might as well be Mayberry.
If we're low on sugar, we can call our neighbor.
We have block parties, we have Christmas parties.
If somebody gets sick or hurt, there'll be a whole train of neighbors that bring them food.
But sometimes even Mayberry can get messy.
It was a divisive time in 2016.
That's Rachel Burns and her husband Timothy.
We were all worried about, falling apart instead of coming together.
Things got heated during that 2016 election, even here. So much so, Rachel knew she had to do something.
I just went down to the basement and there was a ton of wood that we had stored down there and a ton of paint. And I made an 8-foot wide by 4-foot tall love sign. And I put 50 lights in it, each one representing the 50 states.
So it became a real community thing.
Not before long, across the street, Karen Oriema wanted a sign.
So that's how I got Joy. She did it in her basement downstairs.
And that was just the start.
She always talks about making them with her woman hands. I said, I would love it if you would make me a sign, and I would like ours to be peace.
Soon, more neighbors, more requests, more signs.
And I thought, really?
I said, oh, I'd love one. And I just immediately said I wanted hope. Yeah, that's the one I want for sure.
Then 2 houses down.
Ours was one of the later ones, right, Jacqueline? I ultimately chose care.
Suddenly, the neighborhood looked like the inside of a Hallmark greeting card.
Love and hope and peace and joy and care and unity.
Now nearly 10 years after that election and through all that has followed.
The values endure.
It really just says that no matter what, your community is there for you.
I think it's even more important now.
Important, especially for the homeowner who saw the signs and started it all.
It was just one of those things that I did at that time when I was filled with worry and anxiety about how our country was kind of dividing. It's just a reminder that community starts small, and that's the way through hard times.
In Arlington, Virginia, Sean Martinelli.
The popular New Orleans Mardi Gras crew, the Crew of Tux, has almost 2,000 riders every year, but you're about to meet one member who has found a way to stand out. And, you know, it's important you do that during Mardi Gras. So she's a local educator with a one-of-a-kind throw, we'll say. Rachel Handley has her story.
I call myself the Tux Book Lady.
And Kathleen Gwinan has earned that title. She joined New Orleans' favorite toilet-themed crew in 2016. A couple of years later, she had the idea to hand out books along with her regular throws.
Everybody I gave a book to that year seemed really excited about it.
She gave out about 20 that year. The next year, she brought 200. The number kept going up from there.
I've come to the conclusion that my sweet spot for the number of books that I can throw is about 600.
Yes, 600. Gwinan already has all of this year's books ready. She says that she gets a variety and tries to match the book to the age of the kid she's throwing to.
Graphic novels, regular chapter books, beginning readers, early readers, all of it. And I do throw in maybe 25 books for adults who scream book at me along the way.
She even makes sure that some are on theme. Tux rolls on Valentine's Day this year.
The Berenstain Bears Valentine's book and how to catch a Lovosaurus.
By this point, it may come as no surprise that Gwinan is a librarian. She works at Lakewood Elementary in St. Charles Parish. She says her job lets her get big quantities of books below retail price. It also gives her a good idea of which kids' books are popular in a given year. Her throwing arm is all her.
Kids on ladders in the back, I try to make eye contact with a parent, and the picture books, if you get them to go like a Frisbee, it works pretty well.
Gwinan makes sure to post a picture of herself at the beginning of the route so people know where her float is. After 7 years, she's gotten some fans.
I've had people holding book lady signs on the route. That was kind of fun the first time I saw that, and other people just come yelling book lady.
And that title will be preserved forever inside the books themselves. Gwinan marks each one with this custom stamp that says, "Enjoy your book, #TuxBookLady." Rachel Handley.
I love this one. Now, she also told us she has boxes of Ziploc bags because if it rains, she puts all 600 books in the bags to protect them. All right, moving on to our next story here in Arizona. Woman's little free library was emptied not once but twice, leaving her devastated. That is until the community stepped in. How neighbors turned loss into generosity. And students in high school in one Texas city getting a head start on careers that could save lives. We take a look inside a classroom that's more like a fire station. Welcome back. One simple check by a school nurse may have helped to save a student's life. Listen to this. She flagged concerns that led to a cancer diagnosis. And now his school came together to celebrate a major milestone, the end of his treatment. Here's Daniel Gomez.
That bell marks the end of Emilio Zunega's treatment for leukemia.
He's so young. He has his whole life ahead of him. Yes.
Cake, friends, and hugs are found at the finish line at Decker Elementary. A much brighter picture than the signs of cancer found in late October 2023.
He came about twice within about a week and a half of the same complaint of a spot in his throat hurting him. The first time he didn't have a fever, but the second time he did.
Nurse Gabby Cerda also noticed swollen lymph nodes on Emilio. She got on the phone with the boy's mother, Maria Rios.
I think she called me about 3 times that week for a fever. So just to get checked out, just to be safe. At first, I was one of those moms. I'm like, the nurse is just bothering me. Like, it's nothing, it's nothing. Mom told me when we called to find out, when she gave the update here at school, that I was checking on him, like, so what did the doctor say? Was it anything? And she's like, it's cancer.
It was a tough journey ahead.
Complications with the chemo, the side effects, nosebleeds, seizures, ICU stays.
Being in the hospital whenever blood was gushing down my nose, I think my mouth.
The chemo and medicine got Emilio to this side of living with cancer, but it was the support along the way that got him back on track to just being a kid.
My friends' support, being happy, and trying to be happy and stuff.
Nurse Gabby learning that there's always a lesson for everyone at school.
I'll be honest, I never thought working as a school nurse that I would have helped, I guess, identify that.
And Emilio walks away with his own lesson.
Stay strong, stay proud.
So do others in his teaching of strength and courage. Daniel Gomez.
Great story. You know, sometimes you can learn something from younger folks. All right, moving on to our next story here. High school students in one Texas city are getting a head start on careers that could save lives. Through the school's Fire Academy and EMT program, students can earn real certifications, train alongside firefighters, and even qualify for jobs right out of high school. Michael Corrier takes us inside the classroom that looks more like a fire station. Take a look.
Are we on air?
Yep. Man, primary search entering the building.
This is a search and rescue drill. With their mask blacked out, simulating zero visibility. In a real fire,
and you can't see anything.
This is what it's like. Dark, loud,
primary search entering the building!
And dependent on teamwork.
So all you have is communicating to let your partners know where you're at.
The goal,
I'm on wall 2!
Find the victim and get out safely. The students rely on communication to move through the room. The Fire Academy and EMT program at Hendrickson High School is part of the ISD's Career and Technical Education program, allowing juniors and seniors to earn their basic fire suppression and EMT certifications before graduation.
They pass all of those, then go start applying for jobs as soon as they're 18. It's a good deal.
Captain Michael Ray, who is a retired firefighter, teaches his students fire science, hazmat, and emergency medicine.
Every day we go through our air packs.
Students also have full access to firefighting gear and train just like professionals.
This is not our classroom, this is our station.
Captain Ray spent decades in the fire service.
They wipe down these tables. They take out the trash, they sweep this room.
Now he's bringing real-world experience straight to the classroom.
We take care of our station, which mimics station duties for on-duty firefighters.
On weekends, students train at Pflugerville Fire Department's facility, putting out fires, performing rescues, and learning side-by-side with professional firefighters.
And it's like really inspiring knowing that like how involved they are in saving lives and like
we're going to wall 4!
All the stressful situations that they have to go through and all the preparations they have to take to be on the job.
We're on our way!
And for students unsure of their future still, the Fire Academy offers something just as valuable. Confidence.
If college doesn't work for me, I have that. But if college does work for me, that doesn't mean this program was for nothing.
Take them out!
I still learned a lot. I still challenged myself.
Good, take your mask off.
And especially that EMT certification, I take that with me across the entire country. And I can work while I study.
Good job. Thank you, sir.
That was Michael Corrier reporting in Austin, Texas. Now, Little Free Libraries are meant to build communities and help provide access to books for those who can't afford to buy them. The steward of one Little Free Library in Phoenix, Arizona, had to rely on her community when someone took all of the books. Not once, but twice. Kyra O'Connor spoke with her about how the friends she's made along the way helped her rebuild.
This isn't cheap, and I get a lot of donations, but still, it's, I'm trying to do something nice, and it got kind of stomped on, so it was kind of devastating.
Danielle Gasker grew up reading, a passion she's carried into adulthood. So when she learned about Little Free Libraries, she knew she wanted to bring the program to her North Phoenix neighborhood.
Not everybody can afford constant books. Books are expensive. It has helped my daughter tremendously with her reading. And I hear from people who come to the Little Free Library and they're like, thank you, because it gets my kids reading more. They get to come and choose their own book, which is so fun for them. And it's improved their reading.
Recently, Gasker's Little Free Library was cleared out not once, but twice in the span of just 1 week. Incidents that left Gasker devastated. She posted about the incidents on Instagram, and the community she built both online and in her neighborhood jumped into action.
The amount of support was astounding. I was blown away by how many people were like, what is her problem? How can we help? What do you need us to do?
Now the library is fully restocked thanks to generous donations and back in service. Gasker says she hopes people will continue to use her pride and joy and encourages anyone who is interested in building their own Little Free Library to do so. Kyra O'Connor.
All right, coming up after the break, at every rescue, there's a potential for a star. How one woman is giving rescue animals a new life on the big screen and providing valuable lessons about wildlife. A farm in Georgia is turning rescued animals into unlikely movie stars, and their close-ups are making a real impact. Here's Caitlin Ross to show us how their performances are helping audiences connect with the wildlife living all around them.
I guess I was born this way. I had my first wolf pup from a rescue when I was 4.
The animals at Nicole Canoy's rescue are like family.
He is a baby, and he wants to be in your pocket all the time.
Her babies lighting up her life.
It's not just about helping the animal have a better life, that it's about people knowing that they're special and non-judged and they're needed.
That love lighting up the silver screen.
This is Gus. He's the Aflac goat. He was taught to be mischievous, and he does that very well. He's done Harriet Tubman. I can trust this snake because I've had him since he was a baby.
She trains the animals she saves to steal the scene in movies.
This is Nut Nut. I got him when he was 17. He's 27, which is an
He's 27?
Yes. Unheard of amount, no.
Like he wanted to come see me. She's saved thousands of animals over her 27 years in rescue.
They love, love, love to be scratched, and he dances.
But she says only a few of them are meant to be movie stars.
My goal with him is to become the Liberty Mutual emu.
Never forcing them to act.
We give George a date, and so they can dub in speaking parts.
Only selecting the animals that like to show off for set.
So George can do hands up for his burglar shots.
Using positive reinforcement and marshmallows to get the shot. The animals she saves would not survive in the wild.
Hi, there you go.
So she's giving them a second chance at life and a platform to show people that animals matter.
I started working with alligators when I was little.
Nicole says showing people how incredible these rescue animals are on screen is saving them in the wild.
It's about saving a whole generation of people to actually care about the squirrel in their backyard and the raccoon that's in their trash can. This is Crease. He is the snake that we used in Cobra Kai.
Each animal showing audiences that real connection and real compassion can start with the smallest scene.
Brings happiness and wholesomeness and innocence and just love for something that they don't understand. Good, hands up, good.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. I had no idea how they trained the animals that are used in some of those popular shows that she mentioned, or even movies. Really awesome story from Caitlin Ross in Atlanta. Now that is it for Featured. Until next time, make it a great one.